Good morning. It's Saturday morning. It is Saturday, September. That's not September. Saturday, August 30th. Sheesh. I've just gotten done with an interview on an educational podcast, and so something's been in my spirit that I kind of wanted to share. Yesterday, God was speaking to me about the word pivot. So if you're watching, please make sure that you're sharing with people in your community that need to hear this word. I'm super excited. Once again, it's Prophetess Kiana Angel. And I want to say thank you for tuning in today, wherever you may be, and those who are going to watch the replay. I'm so glad that you're here. And I believe that today's word is going to be something that's going to be for your now season. And I want to talk to you about knowing when to pivot. Knowing when to pivot. Sometimes the bravest move isn't that we should push harder. It's really pivoting smarter. Sometimes the bravest move that a person can make isn't pushing harder. It's really pivoting smarter. And someone needs to really catch that in their spirit. That pivoting doesn't mean that you're weak. Pivoting doesn't mean that you gave up. Pivoting means you're wise enough to shift in order to grow. You're wise enough to shift in order for you to grow. And so essentially, when you pivot, it actually comes from basketball. And I back in the day I tried. Let me clarify. I tried to play basketball. And so just imagine a player keeping one foot planted while turning their body to face another direction so that they can make a play. So they use one foot to stay planted and they kind of move or shift their foot so that they could, move in a different direction. Hey, Lady Arnisha, please share this. I'm talking about knowing when to pivot. Knowing when to pivot. And so pivoting allows a person to stay grounded, and we can stay grounded in our purpose. And sometimes we have to shift our position or shift our strategy or even shift our approach. Pivoting doesn't mean that you're quitting. Pivoting means that you are aligning with what works. You have to align with what works. If you know somebody right now who needs to hear this message of pivoting, that's talking about shifting, that's talking about alignment, you have to recognize when things are not working. And you have to assess why they are not working, and you have to make the adjustments. And so when you pivot, it allows you to make that adjustment. And I want to add, when you recognize that the door is no longer opening, when you recognize, hey, Kendra, that's my sissy, as well as Lady Arnisha. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. Share. I'm talking about knowing when to pivot. When you recognize that doors are no longer opening, and instead of banging it out until you're exhausted and you're looking for a door and you're waiting, that's when pivoting comes into place. When you see that something is not working, you have to literally make the adjustments. Like in business, sometimes pivoting looks like changing the product you offer because the market shifted. In your personal life, sometimes pivoting might be letting go of old habits or toxic relationships that don't serve you or your health or your peace. Maybe in ministry, pivoting is when you've stayed faithful to your assignment, but God shifts the method or the season. The calling is the same, but the way he tells you to carry it out changes. God bless you. God bless you, Apostle Nesbitt. And so you have to recognize when it's time to pivot. Sometimes you stay in a place too long and it's not working. So let's talk about the signs of pivoting, okay? Number one, I stated this before. When the doors keep closing, that's time for you to reassess and reevaluate and figure out what is going on, okay? It's not just once, but when those doors are repeatedly closing, when there's no opportunities, every time you go to something and you're trying to force it, but the door is just slamming in your face, that is a time for you to pivot, okay? When the fruit isn't matching the labor, you're sowing and you're sowing, but nothing is growing in that soil. Okay? That's a telltale sign that you need to make adjustments. Another telltale sign is when peace leaves, but stress stays. Anything that's going to attack your peace and mess with your mental and mess with your health, that's a hard no. You need to pivot. You need to reassess what's causing your peace to be disrupted or disturbed, what's causing stress to enter into your space, and you need to make the adjustment. You need to know that the feeling, what it feels like, you know that feeling when grace lifts, okay? And instead of joy, you're drained and it's heavy. Some things shouldn't be heavy. I honestly believe, and this is just my perspective, relationships will take work. Every single day, if you're in any type of relationship, whether it's a work relationship, whether it's a love relationship, any type, whether it's parent to child relationship, relationships take work. But for me, in the space that I'm in, it should not be hard, okay? And the next thing, I have my notes I'm looking at. The next thing is when growth is stalling, like you feel this sense of stretching out, and you know what works, but what happens when what you are accustomed to working is no longer working? What do you do when you're focusing on that thing makes you feel stuck? You have to know when to pivot. So let me tell you something. Pivoting is not failure. You're making adjustments. Pivoting is not failure. Pivoting is a strategy. Pivoting is discernment, recognizing and discerning the times and the seasons. Hey, this used to work, but this is not working. This does not feel right. I'm sensing something that is uneasy. You need to be able to tap into that, okay? Pivoting is wisdom. There's wisdom. First of all, you need to be asking for wisdom. When you pray, you need to ask God for wisdom, and you need to ask God for discernment. It's realizing that forcing something dead will not bring it back to life. Did you hear me? It's realizing that forcing something that's dead will not bring it back to life. Don't force it. Don't force it. If it's not working, don't force it, okay? So how exactly do you pivot? Like, how exactly are you expected to make this adjustment? How exactly are you expected to pivot in the right way? Okay, I'm going to give you a few practical steps. You need to pause and pray. PP, pause and pray. Don't just pivot out of frustration. Decisions made out of haste, in frustration, are never God. You have to sit with God and you have to ask him for clarity and direction. And he'll give it to you. All right? You have to evaluate the fruit. What's producing results and what isn't? It's very simple. What's adding value and what's taking away from the value? Or what's not adding value? You got to stay anchored in your purpose. You have to stay anchored in your purpose. Your mission hasn't changed, but your method can. How you approach it can be changed, can be augmented. It's not fixed. It does not have to be fixed. And you got to move with peace. As much as possible, as much as lies within you. Good morning, Apostle Wings. You have to move with peace. You have to move with peace. Like, that has to be you know what peace feels like? If you go into an environment and it feels chaotic, that's a telltale sign that that peace is not abiding there. If it throws off your nervous system, if your stomach starts to feel weird and queasy, those are telltale signs that something is a little off. So you got to move with peace. Peace is often the confirmation that you're pivoting in the right direction. When you feel the opposite of peace, chaos, anxiety, disruption, it means that you need to address what that is. You need to recognize what's going on. And remember, pivoting doesn't mean that you're abandoning the vision. It means that you are adjusting the version. You're just updating and adjusting the version, okay? So before I get ready to go, I would like to know, have you ever had to pivot? Let me see in the comments, like, when you've pivoted. And maybe you had to pivot in your business, in your relationships, in your ministry, maybe even in your personal growth. What did that look like for you? Like, what did this pivoting look like for you? And then I want to ask another question. Like, what area of your life do you feel like God may be calling you to pivot in right now? Let's be honest. Write it down, declare it, and let's hold on to that so that we can be accountable to each other. And let me tell you, like, oftentimes for the last 20 years, people have known me as a preacher and a prophet, but they don't know that I come with so much more. I have a background in music. I have a background in education. I have coaching expertise. And so sometimes as I try to pivot into my educational hat, the people who have been following me for ministry don't even want to see that part. They don't even want to recognize that educator component that I come with, or they don't even want to see the coaching component. But all of those things are so an amalgamation of who I am. I cannot cut them away from who I am. I bring those with me wherever I show up. And so the reality is that there's much more than just the preacher and the prophet. Diametrically, my calling is a teacher, and I've recently embraced that even though occupationally I am a teacher. Thank you so much. You are an amazing educator too, Lady K, Lady Kendra. Thank you. So God is opening doors and opportunities for me to be on bigger stages and bigger audiences when it comes to education. I have had the opportunity to teach from pre-K, elementary, high school, into higher education. I've taught the gamut. I've taught special education. I've taught general ed, and I'm so thankful for these opportunities that are bound and that are presented to me. And so I want to share those with you. Thank you for being a part of my family, my network, and a part of my team, and have been a part of my journey to witness these things that God has done in my life. Yes, pivoting. Oh my goodness. Pivoting when it comes to parenting is essential. And Lady K, I think that you and I should actually do a live where you can join me on the couch. And we talk about how we've had to pivot and how our relationship has had to grow, because we've been parenting as mom and mom for 23 years. I'll share briefly. Lady Kendra is my bonus mom. My eldest child, Quinn, that's Quinn's bonus mom. And we've had to grow together in our relationship. I was a young mom when I had Quinn, so I was like 19 when I had Quinn. And I believe Kendra came into Quinn's life when Quinn was maybe 2. So Quinn is 22 now. So it's been, what, 23 years, 24 years? I'm not good with math, but y'all do the math. We've had to grow as a blended family and teen moms. And I can say that we didn't have too many bad times. And I can say that our wonderful times have definitely outweighed our bad times. And we are definitely sisters. Yeah, you came in Quinn's life when Quinn was 2 years old. So I want to definitely have a moment where you and I can talk about blended, what that looked like for us and how we managed it and how we grew, and how we had to pivot as women. We had to grow as women to just say, hey, we're going to not allow nothing crazy. We pivoted. We learned how to do that and what that looked like and how we were successful. I believe we were successful. Hey, Auntie Lois. I believe that we were successful in our parenting as a blended family. Apostle Dave McClure is on. God bless you. So to get back to what my topic was with just pivoting, knowing when to make adjustments is important. Making those, we got to do it. Definitely. Making those adjustments, recognizing when the course has run. Pivoting allows you to just shift. And I believe that we are in a great time in the world to just shift from what has not worked and to shift into what is working. And I think that there's a lot of value out of recognizing when to shift. Some people just stay in things so long that it's run its course and you check out. Pivoting allows you not to check out. Hey, woman of God. God bless you, Lady Pamela. Pivoting allows you not to check out, but it allows you to tap in. When you pivot, you are able to tap into and be reflective about what is working and about what is not working. And so I believe that as we are approaching the 9th month, can you believe that? We are literally in the 9th month. Will tomorrow be the 9th month? No. I think Monday marks the September 1st. And so as we're preparing for the freshness of what a new month brings, I believe it's an opportunity to pivot and go in another direction. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm preparing for the pivot. I like that. Prepare for the pivot. So as you have tuned in with me this morning, I pray that there is something that I've said that has given you an opportunity that's checked, that's like minister to you, to help you navigate this next space in the remainder of the year, that you need to pivot. Pivot for purpose. Pivot because who you are depends upon your pivot, your next pivot. Yes, that's right, Apostle. The climate has definitely shifted. It is a new forecast. Exactly. And when you are not aware of what the season calls for, you're missing out. Oh, Auntie, that is amazing. Sometimes when we, and I believe this is going to be for what you were talking about, Auntie Lois, sometimes we can want something so badly that may not necessarily be what God wants for us. And sometimes God allows that season or opportunity or that door to close. And sometimes we process it through the lens of failure, when that is not how we should look at it. What we should do is reassess and pivot. Plant your feet. Plant that one foot. Prepare to catch what God is throwing at you so you can shift with the other foot. It's an about face. It's going in the opposite direction. And so I honestly believe that pivots allow you to recognize what's working and what's not working. But it's all in how you process the pivot. You cannot process it from the lens of failure. You cannot internalize it from the lens of that it's you. But you need to tap into what the season is telling you about what you need to do directionally. And so that's when I mentioned that you have to pause and pray, like prayer is the tool that we use to navigate the pivot or to navigate what's not working, the signs of the time. When you are discerning and when you are aware of the patterns, and I think a lot of times people miss patterns. People are missing the patterns. What is your life telling you? I spoke with a parent the other night at a curriculum night this past week, and we were talking about her child that I taught last year. She came to see me, even though I was not teaching her child this year, but I taught her child last year. And she said, I just wanted to meet you. You've called me. You prayed for me on the phone, and I want to know how my son's doing. And I'm like, hey, I don't teach him anymore, but I see him every morning. And he's doing, from what I observe, he appears to be doing well. He appears to... Yes, prayer is the access portal for the pivot. That's right, Prophetess Pamela. So I wanted to say this about the situation with the mom. She started to talk to me about her child's behavior. I said, he seemed to have matured from when I taught him. And I like that. I love that for him. I see that in him. And she was like, yeah, but he starts off strong, but there's like this period of time where he just gets off track. I said, what time of the year is that? She says, it's actually coming up. She's like, it's between September and October. Hey, sis. My sis Tammy is on. So she says, I notice his behavior changes around September and October. I said, is that the time like his father passed away? And she says, yes, he passed away in October. I said, Mom, you cannot forget to recognize the pattern. You knew the behavior changed, but you didn't connect the behavior to the cause or the root cause of it. And she's like, he doesn't talk about it. I said, could it be that you didn't create an environment for him to talk about it? He's a young man. How many times in the family has it been created for him to have voice and words and expression and to even cry? I said, he's crying, but he's not crying around you. And she's like, yeah, that's probably because of how I showed up when his father passed and how it impacted me and affected me. So I just wanted to say, pivoting can happen in all areas. Pivoting can happen in your personal life, for just how you want to show up and the goals that you want to work on. Pivoting does not look the same for every person. So what pivoting looks like for you doesn't have to look like for other people. Pivoting can show up in your relationships, in your love relationships or your work relationships or familial relationships or platonic relationships. Pivoting can show up in your ministry. pivoting can show up in your business and your occupation. So I just want you to know that pivoting is a shift that needs to be assessed and needs to take precedence as we are moving into a new month. Prepare for your pivot. Pray for your pivot. Steward your pivot. And as I stated before, I posed the question about, was there a time in your life that you had to pivot? And what did it look like for you as you pivoted? So I want to see in the chat. I want to engage with you. I want to know what that looked like for you and how you plan to pivot for the rest of the year. How do you plan to pivot for the rest of the year? Let me know in the chat. I want to be a thought partner with you. And if you're looking for coaching opportunities, reach out to me in my inbox or DMs, or you can email KianaAngel@gmail.com. That's KianaAngel@gmail.com. I am an executive coach. I am a business coach. I'm a life coach. I have certifications for all of those things. If you desire prophetic coaching, I have opportunities for that. Please join the Builders Legacy Group. I've been sick, so I kind of fell back from that, but I'm back. I'm healthy, and I'm thankful for that God is speaking to me to be able to still pour into people. I'm still in contact with my mentees who are actually launching and building their own opportunities. I was in contact with one of my mentees last night who is actually getting ready to launch her this thing that God has placed on her heart in relationships. She does media tech, and she's launching this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I will keep you abreast on that. I'm so excited about the women that God has connected me with that are building and are working in their own area and sphere. My book is slated to be out in October, so I'm still working to make sure that that's done. So I know some of you have prepaid. I just wanted to give you updates on that. And listen, don't forget to pivot. I'm also launching my YouTube channel. I need about 50 people over on that side. It's Kiana. What is it? What is my YouTube channel? I think it's Angel Global. I think Angel Global is what my YouTube is. Let me go there right quick. Just because I would like for you to connect with that as well. I'm starting my YouTube channel. Let's see. It is my YouTube channel is Angel Global. I got it right. Head over to YouTube. Subscribe to Angel Global. There's a video of Judah preaching. That's my baby. And he is a phenomenal gift. He and I were just talking last night about how we're going to do more lives and more talking on my YouTube channel. So do me a huge favor. I realize that I've been called in ministry, but I hesitate with moving on. I need to pivot and not be concerned with the people and circumstances around me. Yes, Miss Janice, listen, you've been in ministry for a long time. Now it's that accepting it. So I would love to speak with you. I would love to do a conversation, a one-on-one where we can talk through that and see what your apprehension is about it. And I want to say to you, don't be afraid of their faces. Don't be afraid of their faces. Don't be afraid of the circumstances or the people. You are called who you are called to, and God needs you for such a time as this. He said that to Hadassah, which is Esther, that I've called you to the kingdom for such a time as this. So think about moving within God's timing. I think sometimes we allow the apprehension of their faces, what they are going to say. Be unbothered. What God has placed in you is purposeful, it's necessary, and it's now. And so you need to move in that timing of that. Move in the timing. The Bible talks about striking the iron while it is hot. So that's about the moving in the right time. You got to tap into moving into the right time of that. And we could talk about what ministry looks like for you. And we could talk about what is causing you to be restricted and causing you to not move your feet or shift. One foot is planted while the other foot is free enough to help cause you to pivot, to help turn and move in that regard. So yeah, go to YouTube, subscribe, y'all. I need to be able to go live there. I'm going to add more content to YouTube. It's Angel Global. That's ANNGEL Global. AngelGlobal.com as well is my website. We need to add more stuff. We haven't put up anything new since the Shira conference, which was a powerful success. And I'm super excited. If you know some women that need to connect with me, have them tap into the Build Hers group where we're going to talk more about pivoting and how to bounce back from illness, all those different things that women need. Information about building your life, building your purpose, building your ministry, tapping into what God is innately giving you, because He ordained you from your mother's womb. He gave you a purpose, and it may not be to preach. Maybe your realm is cooking. Maybe it is creating and designing. Maybe it's something with your hands. Maybe it's just encouraging people. But whatever it is, you need to tap into what it is that God has put in you, because that is your way of ministering to the world and giving Jesus to the world. So I'm getting ready to close out. Prayerfully, this has been a wonderful moment of impartation for you, that you take this word with you into your September as we close out August. I want to give you this word, that this is the time to pivot and you start this next month strong, so that you can have a strong ending. All right. I'm excited. Next month, I will be receiving an award, thankful to my auntie Dolores. And I'm going to this wonderful gala in Atlanta. I had the opportunity to be on Preach the Word Worldwide Network. I was interviewed on my auntie Lois's television show. And so they're giving me an award, myself along with my apostle. And so I'm super excited about that. So listen, y'all have a wonderful Saturday. And don't forget to pivot. It's time to shift. Have a great day.